All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show at Levi Stadium after 49ers practice down here in Santa Clara. Of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Go say hi to Damon. Go say hi to Mary. Get some brisket. Tell them that Krug sent you. And, of course, this video also brought to you by Sharp Corners Sports Cards and Collectibles along the Monterey Peninsula. My good friend Anthony Catania down there, Sharp Corners Sports Cards and Collectibles in Pacific Grove, California. Thanks to them for sponsoring this video. All right, we're down here in Santa Clara. Niners just finished practice. They made a roster addition today. They signed Pat Elflein, an offensive lineman, and they waived Bryson Mays, who's an undrafted free agent center from Southern Miss. So Elflein played at Ohio State, grew up in suburban Columbus, dreaming of being a Buckeye, and then was a 4-year wrestler. I love that background. I love that wrestling background. 6'2", about 305 pounds, and he's got that toughness, he's got that balance. Unfortunately, he did pull his calf in the first practice, so we don't know about his status going forward, but he was picked up today, and Bryson Mays was waived. Couple other things today. No new news on Trent Williams or Brandon Aiyuk. Trent Williams continues to hold out. Brandon Aiyuk continues to hold in, though Aiyuk was not at practice today. What does it all mean? You know, what's the update? Shanahan said no update. No new update on Trent, no new update on Aiyuk. It was interesting. Shanahan was asked about Aiyuk and, you know, dapping him up at practice the other day. And he just said, you know, that's just the way he normally gives handshakes, and it was nothing. And he played it down as nothing. So a lot of people have speculated that either Aiyuk's on the verge of signing an extension or that he's on the verge of being traded. Shanahan was giving no information on that, said that it really was not significant that he dapped up Aiyuk. I hate to report this, but there's a guy named Pretty Ricky 213 on X who says that Brandon Aiyuk and a third-round pick to the Raiders for Devontae Adams. And I don't even know if there's any legitimacy to it or not, but the guy does have 40,000 followers, and so I thought I would at least mention that that's out there. There's also speculation that Aiyuk could be traded to the Browns. I don't know if any of it's true or any of it's viable or not. You know, it's really difficult to know at this juncture, you know, what's viable and what's just absolute hearsay. So that's the latest. Renardo Green, I thought looked good today. He played outside cornerback against the twos. I thought he had great tight coverage. Isaac Yiadom, we talked to Yiadom, who's looked really good in this camp, about Ricky Pearsall, and he said, I really like him a lot. He said he's a great receiver. He's a great release guy at the line of scrimmage. He says if he keeps working, he's going to be really great in this offense and in this league. So it was great to hear Yiadom have nice things to say about Pearsall. Pearsall also took the podium today and talked a little bit about, you know, I asked him about how hard it is at this level to maintain separation throughout the entirety of the route, and he kind of admitted that is a major factor, and it's just difficult to not just get separation, but to maintain it. But he said he works on all the nuances of it. He's got a great little rapport going with Brock Purdy early on. Purdy, by the way, today, no interceptions, took a few sacks, didn't float the ball down the field, didn't take as many chances. There was no CMC today at practice, so, you know, he didn't have the ultimate safety valve in McCaffrey out here. By the way, on the injury front, Aaron Banks did not practice today. He has got back spasms, so he didn't practice with back spasms. Juwan Jennings has been battling an ankle. He wasn't out there today. Jacob Cowing's trying to get back on the field as well. He's trying to work his way back from a hamstring injury. And Cowing was working out on a side field throughout practice today. There is not going to, Kyle Shanahan told us there will not be a surgery coming up for Spencer Burford. You know, he does have a broken hand, but it's not going to require surgery. He's still going to wind up missing, you know, they're thinking maybe 3-4 weeks. But, you know, if you have surgery, now you're 2-3 months and not weeks. The great Guy Haberman in the house. Look who's in the house. The great Guy Haberman, back from Portugal, and jumping into my video here.
Jump in the car with you.
Yes, as we commandeer a golf cart here at Levi's. Guys, scoot in here for a sec. What did you think? Give me a quick thought on what we've seen thus far in this practice. I mean, they signed Pat Elflein today, and then he had the calf injury, but still no update on Trent, no update on Aiyuk. Shanahan seemed to kind of, for those who thought there was meaning in the hug the other day, he kind of put that to rest. There was no meaning, at least what he told us today. But what was your quick takeaway now that you're standing right here?
I'm ready for more reps between number one corners and number one receivers. We're down the receiver depth chart for a lot of these reps, and no Jennings. We had no Danny Gray
no
2 days ago. Still no Cowing. Maybe he'll come back next week. Jennings for 2 practices in a row. But that's because Deommodore Lenoir, I think,
he looks great.
He looks fantastic.
He looks great.
But in the same way that Bosa's not practicing every day, right?
Right.
It's like Bosa needs to practice against Trent, and
Right.
Lenoir needs to practice against Aiyuk.
True ones against true ones.
Yeah, it's been a week, so maybe I'm getting a little impatient, but.
What did you make of yesterday? Yesterday, Cowherd was like, big Aiyuk news coming. Schefter and Rappaport were like, we don't have any reports of any news coming.
I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that somebody, that maybe Cowherd and the guys are maybe just guessing, reading that there was some chatter about Aiyuk signing?
I think the handshake thing, and maybe that got people moving. Colin tends to post it when it's like just an agent, like somebody. He's not breaking all this news. He just tweets when something is happening. He thinks.
Right.
And it did feel like a good day today to do it. Kind of a couple days removed from DJ Moore. So it did make me think something is about to happen. But the other one, I was just saying this on my stream. Like, I was talking to Jeff Schwartz, and then I heard his brother Mitchell on a podcast.
Former Cal Bear, former Oregon Duck, Jeff, right?
And Jeff said to me, he's like, the O-line community was disappointed that Penei Sewell didn't sign for like $30.5 million. They thought he was going to sign for more. I wonder if Trent expected. Like, is Trent asking for 32?
Well, now that Wirfs has gotten 28.5 a year.
I know, but all these guys thought they were going to get 30, and I wonder if Trent was expecting one of those guys to get 30, and he came in asking for 32.
He's at 23. I mean, there are people that believe that the Aiyuk thing's going to get solved quickly, but that the Trent thing could linger into the regular season. There's no way to really know, but what's your assessment of the two holdouts?
Trent once missed a whole season.
Right, so he's kind of proven. He's a proven entity in the holdout game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think you can. I don't know how much you can really bully Trent Williams.
I know.
In negotiation.
And maybe he doesn't want to play anymore. And that's the other thing.
That would surprise me.
I would think that he would want to play. He seemed pretty adamant at the Super Bowl that he wanted to continue to play. What about anybody stand out to you? Anybody that you're? I've been loving what I've been seeing out of Jalen Graham, Renardo Green. To me, if there's one theme of this camp, it's been the Niner young DBs between Mustafa, Fonga, and Brown. Well, I'm talking about they got 3 young safeties that are pretty good, and then they got about 5 or 6 young corners that are all pretty good.
Yeah.
They've got almost 10 good DBs that are all roughly 23 to 28.
Yeah, Green turns 24 this year. He's a rookie. Pearsall turns 24 in a week or two. But is Ambry Thomas off the team?
I think he's going to have a very difficult time making it, but he's also really, really talented. That's going to be something to watch for. Is how many DBs can they go with? They're thin at safety, but they're deep at corner. Last year they got rid of Deshaun Jameson, and then by the end of the year they're signing corners off the street. There's all kinds of guys. And looking back on it, you know what? They really should have just maintained their depth. Now they've got 8 corners with guys like Rock Ya-Sin, Chase Lucas. To me, one of the most interesting parts of the cutdown in August will be at the end of the preseason is how many of these 6 NFL caliber corners can they keep? Can they keep them all? Or they really more have 8 when you think about, I really like Luter, I like Womack, Renardo Green. They got a bunch of guys back there, and it's like, you can only keep so many. You can't keep 7 corners in the NFL, so that's going to be a big.
I think they're better at corner than they've been. I feel better about them at corner than I'm trying to think when's the last time I felt this good about their cornerbacks at this point in the year? I don't know. Have they come into a season with 3 clear-cut starting NFL corners since?
It's been a while. You got to go back to the Harbaugh era where they had,
Yeah.
Carlos Rogers and Terrell Brown, and then they also had Chris Culliver, who was like a 2nd or 3rd round pick. They had decent depth, and then Culliver, of course, fell
Chase
apart.
somebody with brass knuckles.
Right, he fell apart. But yeah, corner depth. I mean, you can't fake it. You cannot fake it. If you don't have good corners, you can't play pass defense. What about Purdy? You think we're going to see Purdy as the starter at right guard, like possibly day one going forward, or how do you think they're going to play their hand?
The whole thing with him, right, is that Kansas didn't ask him to move the line of scrimmage a lot in the run game. So I think the preseason is going to be really critical for him. Can he prove? We know that they will prioritize a road grading offensive lineman over pass protection when it comes to that spot, right? Is that fair to say?
Right guard is typically your road grading, run
Mike
blocking monster.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, now if a function of health, he just might not be able to avoid being the starter. I know Burford avoided surgery, and he'll still be back in 2-3 weeks.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it feels
Plus,
like a real possibility.
I think Nugent has looked really good at center. I don't know. Maybe the picking up of Pat Elflein maybe means that they're not as enthused by their interior guys. But I like what I've seen from Nugent in the short amount of time in practice. So
there's basically stability at 2 spots right now. It's center and right guard in terms of starters, right?
Well,
right tackle. Sorry, right tackle.
Well, Banks at left guard.
Okay.
Or do you don't think of him as stable?
No, you're right. He is stable. They've just been.
He also didn't play today. Banks was out today.
And they rotated.
Back spasms.
They rotated at left guard 2 days ago, and backup center.
Yeah.
Not feeling great. No, Trent Williams signs. Burford's held. Feliciano and Burford. 4 weeks from now it could be Williams is signed. Burford and Feliciano are healthy. They've got all these options at guard. And Banks is at left guard, and off you go.
Yeah.
It could be the exact same line after all this, but.
And last one, and I'm going to call it quits here. How concerned are you about the 49ers run defense or just defensive line? Some people look at it and say, Leonard Floyd's the best opposite Bosa they've had, and they've got good depth. Other people look at it and say, man, they're going to miss Armstead. Man, they're going to miss Greenlaw. They're really going to struggle on that front line. How do you see the Niner front?
Well, they missed Armstead last year, too.
Yeah, he missed a lot of time.
They are going to miss Greenlaw. How do they not take a step back at linebacker? Unless one of your young guys is just
ready.
Maybe they'll have some splash plays and they'll,
I thought Tatum Bethune today was really good at practice. I don't know if you saw it.
I didn't watch him much today. What did he do?
He had the scoop of the forced fumble and ran it back, whatever that is. But then he also had a couple of hits that were really nice. One in the run game where he stopped J.P. Mason, and then Mason, of course, kept running. But I like what I've seen out of Bethune. Today was the first time I thought Bethune actually showed like he was something.
This is supposed to be
Look at this.
Supposed to be out of shape media, but I don't know if
with I would say 5.7 speed, maybe a 6.2 speed. Anyway, check this guy out on the Pac-12 network. When can we catch him on
Big
the
Ten
Pac-12?
network.
Or Big Ten network.
I better not make that mistake.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to be like, you don't want me to be like, and President Putin over here.
That's right. There's just some things you can't say.
Yeah. Big Ten network. This guy's going to be on there throughout the year. When's the first game?
Week 1.
Who do you know who it is?
Yeah.
Who is it? You forget.
I haven't said.
You haven't said.
I'll be at Oregon week 1.
Oregon against
Idaho.
The Vandals.
That's right.
On what can they catch?
Big Ten Network.
Big Ten
I think
Network.
it's a 4 o'clock. I got to double check that.
Big Ten Network. Guy Haberman right here, folks. That's going to do it. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. Thanks for supporting the Krug Show live from Levi's on YouTube.